Hey, aloha. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm your host, Tom Gaddis. I got the lumberjack himself, Jason Moran. I like the play. I thought it was like you've been out chopping some wood and getting things ready for the winter.
Well, I wouldn't say chopping wood, but I've been shoveling a lot of snow. A lot of snow.
Oh my God.
We got hit hard over this last week. So yeah, that's I was talking to somebody earlier and they say, yeah, we're just gonna a buddy of mine calls me J-Man. He's like, I'm changing that to Snowman next, I've been shoveling so much
J-Man, I like that. We can start calling that around here. J-Man. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm Tom. That's J-Man. We're here. We're going to be talking about the #1 agency tool for automated sales and prospecting in 2024. We're going to dive deep into that. We're going to chat tools, specifically the tool we'll be using in 2024 to land a ton of new clients automatically. We're also going to take your questions. We're going to do some shout outs. We're just going to talk about what's going on in our lives. It's going to be fun. We're going to hang out. We're going to have a good time. So grab a drink. I'm going to cue up the intro. Forgive my technical here. I was telling Jason before, my mouse died, so I'm using the trackpad, which is annoying. But I'll cue the intro, and we'll see you back here in one momento.
It's time. The moment you've been waiting for. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of marketing strategies and tactics to grow and scale your business from anywhere in the world. After 167 agonizing hours, we've returned for a brand new Aloha Marketing Jam session. And now, here are your hosts.
Oh, man, Jason, listen to that crowd.
2024, we're ringing it in.
Settle down up there, everybody. We want to talk. No, here we go. That was great. I know, 2024, right? I have said this the past few years to Nick, like right when the new year starts, it's like before we know it, it's going to be the 4th of July. Before you know it, it's going to be the freaking end of the year again. It just seems like time has been going faster and faster and faster. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So you mentioned you guys got a lot of snow.
Oh, man. That's an understatement. Yeah.
The slopes the powder? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, the slopes are insane. Yeah. But not only are the slopes good, the slope on my driveway.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that one's been a little bit of a pain. But, yeah, I mean, there's been days I've had to go out there, 3 times in one day just to clear it all. But yeah, we've gotten probably, I don't know, close to 4 feet easily,
wow,
in the last 7 days. So yeah, it's been, and then plus the snow drift, when the winds kick up, it piles up. So yeah, it's been pretty insane. Had to dig out a few of the neighbors and it's been fun.
Yeah, I remember those days of shoveling snow and navigating all that stuff when I lived in Michigan. Pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
Pretty crazy. Well, awesome. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go look at the chat. Let's see who is joining us today. So what's up, Patty? Tuning in from YouTube. That's great. Patty said they had a blizzard in Chicago. Jeremy says it's cold over here. The plaid looks warm. You do look warm. So it's so funny because I was just looking at some plaid shirts the other day and I was like, I need to get some plaid shirts because I don't have any. And but I didn't get any at the time, but they're on my list. Then, so the thing it got really cold here in Vegas too. We've been down to like 37. And so like,
come on, Tom.
It actually snowed here. It snowed here.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. We were like, it snowed in Vegas. So, we had that going on. I got this is actually really warm. I got this on Tuesday down at Traffic and Conversions.
Oh, cool. So you made it down.
Yeah. Traffic and Conversions was in town. It ended, I think, yesterday. And then this next week starts Affiliate Summit West. So there's actually a bunch of conventions in town. The Consumer Electronics Show ends today, I think, which is like 115,000. They had 115,000 people pre-registered for that event.
Wow.
Right. And then Traffic and Conversions is going on, and then Affiliate Summit West. So what? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, have you ever been to the electronics show? I've always wanted to go.
No,
it looks cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I have not. this is the first time I've been to Traffic and Conversions because this, like, since COVID, I think this is one of the first times they're having it. So I only got to go down there for one day because Wednesday we did an awesome training to our community. How many people here were on that training? We did a great training. Agency Owner Growth Toolkit bonus training was really awesome. If you were on there, let me know in the chat. But Tuesday I had some meetings during the day, and then I went down there in the afternoon, and it was a lot of fun. I got to meet some people that we've supported here in our community. I don't know if you guys remember a while back, we did a couple things with Chris Ormiston and John Limbacher. Site Pops was something that we use in the agency, and we talked about and promoted. This has been a few years ago. Anyway, I got to meet John Limbacher. He was there. Todd Spears was there. I thought, well, I'm going to go down there. I'm probably not going to know anybody. Like, I walked in the door, I knew like 5 people right off the bat. And so we just kind of started tooling around, and people started texting me like, oh, there's this event and that event and all these things going on. So we went to, I felt like I was in my 20s again, club hopping, Jason. It was crazy because I had a car because everybody else was visiting, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll drive us wherever we need to go. So we left Traffic and Conversions, and we headed over to Caesars, and there was a VIP suite put on by Digistore. And so it was in a suite in Caesars. So we get up there. They had a nice spread of like cheeses and foods and drinks and like Topo Chicos. I love those. So I was drinking
Topo Chico,
soda water. And they had a DJ in there. They had this DJ in there. And it's so great because when I walked in, like the first person I see was Jason Fladlian, who I've wanted to meet for a long time. For those of you that don't know Jason was a copywriter. I mean, man, I've been looking at his stuff since he did a thing called Stopwatch Copywriting, which was like 15 years ago. And, he has this company called Rapid Crush. They were big in like the how to build an Amazon business. He's kind of become the webinar guy. So Zoom actually hired him as their webinar consultant to do all their webinar stuff, which really put him on the map. He wrote a book about it. He's got a couple awesome courses about it. So anyway, I just, smart guy, really impressed with what him and his partner over there have been to do. They actually, they did the biggest launch in history. They did a launch in, I think it was either in the end of 2022 or 2023, but the launch did $57 million. Like, that's crazy, right? I mean, unbelievable. So, yeah. So got to hang out with him, and he was a real nice guy. I got to see Perry Belcher and some other people. And so we hung out there. Then we went over to, we were going to go over to another event put on by this podcaster, but we got there and it looked kind of lame. What's real funny, we're all such marketing nerds. We get in the elevator to go to the next event, and we're like all talking marketing, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, did anybody press the button? And like, we've been standing in the elevator for like 5 minutes, hadn't even pressed the button. I was like, somebody pressed the button. So anyway, that turned out to be not so good. So we left there and we went over to the Venetian, where Perry Belcher, he has this new mastermind thing, and they had a VIP suite there. So we went over there, hung out there for a while. Then we went over to another event put on by Vendasta, which by the time when we got there, it was over. So we just sat down and had some dinner at the house. But it was fun. So, I didn't get back to my house until like 1 a.m. It was great getting to see people and hang out. Like I never being in Hawaii when Nick and I were building all this and doing all that stuff. We never got to go to events or anything like that. So it was a lot of fun to go and meet people and hang out and just see what people are doing,
Yeah.
Digital Marketer had a booth there. And, I talked to a lot of people that are running agencies and doing all that kind of stuff. So really, 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 really fun time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always fun to get around your peers and hang out, talk shop. I love that. That's why I love doing this. It's so fun to be around.
It's so great people. To get on here and hang out and like, yeah. And and it's so funny. Somebody said, you're a high level need. I appreciate that. Well, it's so funny. High Level had a booth there. So, and I was just telling Nick, they High Level has a summit that they're doing in October of this year. I was like, we should probably go to this. But yeah, it was pretty funny because I was like, since, you know, we use High Level in the agency, like that's our content management system at the agency. And we also use it for some other things and automating prospecting and things like that. We'll talk about, since we're talking about tools, let's start with High Level. You know, there's a couple of interesting things. So so what's kind of funny about the High Level booth was they had this High Level booth. I went over, I was like, look, I'm Tom. I just want to say hi. I was like, we use your tool in our business. And the people there, they were like, oh, awesome. And I was like, yeah, you know, like in 2022, you guys sent me some kind of award. Because Cameron one day reached out to me and he was like, Tom, like High Level wants to send us some award. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I mean, might as well just have them send it, right? So this thing over here shows up, this SaaSpreneur, it's like a SaaSpreneur Gold Award. And it weighs like 200 pounds. Okay. And when it showed up, it's like, it's in this gold box. It's in a velvet bag. It's like, it's got a cloth to clean it. It's got like a certificate. And I'm like, what is this thing? You know? So I can't even hang it I can't hang it on the wall. It's too heavy. Like I don't have a stud. So yeah. I just like set it on top of these books. Right. And it's just been there. And so like, I hadn't really thought much about it. And I was like, yeah, you guys sent me some kind of award. It's like, it like weighs a ton. And the lady's like, wait, are you a gold SaaSpreneur award member? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh my God. She was like, I can't believe it. I was like, so apparently it's a big deal. I had no idea. So anyway, it was fun to get to talk to some other people and all that stuff there at High Level, but
yeah, that's cool. That's
pretty
really
cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be, we should get together. Cause yeah, I'm planning on going to the event in October.
Oh, so are you?
Yeah. Yeah. So that'd be fun if we could all link up.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's coordinate that. Cause I think we should go down there. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so the one thing about tools though, you know, cause we're going to be talking about tools and different things like that. Like, you know, look, High Level, which is, you know, an awesome tool in the agency. You know, they have different plans. We use it in Reach, right? So if you were to, you know, I think their least expensive plan, I think High Level alone is like, you know, $1,200 a year or something like that. I know if you do the upgraded one, it's like, I mean, it's closer to, what is that? They're like $297, I think. So anyway, you know, it's not like a, I mean, it's a pretty good expense, right? And one of the things we do with Reach is we just give you a High Level account with that, you know? But like things like High Level, you know, look, it's a great tool, but like you have to know how to utilize it and build all that stuff out in there. And I have to be honest, it's pretty overwhelming when you get in there because it does so many things. I mean, like, and we see this in Remote Millionaires because, you know, Remote Millionaires get a High Level account as well with our agency Snapshot and all the stuff we use in there. And it's like the tool is great, but to me, the really valuable stuff are the already built out processes, systems, and things that you get in there, right? Like the tool, if you just get the tool, if you're like, look, I mean, I even said this on the training on Wednesday. I was like, yeah, like here's the process, just take a snapshot and build it all out. Like, cause I know how much work you and Richie put into building all that stuff out. Right. And then just keeping it running smooth is a whole nother, you know, set of issues. And I think it's just too much for most people. And so there's, I think, a lot of value in being able to just step in and use a system that somebody else has already worked out, right? And get support for all that. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, learning curve for High Level can be pretty steep for sure. You know, I've never used it before. It's not the most user-friendly software out there, but in my opinion, like there's nothing even close to it in the agency space. You know, not to say that something might not come along in the next 3 to 5 years to knock them off, but at this point in the game, Like they're the only one in town, So if you're running an agency, it makes sense to spend the time and learn it, because you're going to need it. You're absolutely going to need the tool. But like I said, the learning curve is steep, and it will take you some time.
Yeah. And, I think Richie makes a really great point here, because this is me. Like, if I just have to try to sit down and try to learn something, it's very difficult for me to do that and get any good at. Like all of the important skills I've learned over my journey as an entrepreneur, I've learned almost all of them by doing, right? Like doing something that, like, the reason I learned that tool is because I need it to do this thing, or I want to do that part. And Richie makes a great point here. Learning, implementing Reach, setting it up, getting it going, even when you feel like you're kind of a fish out of water, like that's a really great way to learn all of the aspects of high level and how all that stuff works together and things like that, without having to, build it from the ground up. So
1,000%.
Yeah. And if you guys didn't catch the training we did on this, I'll scroll a link below the screen so you can go check it out. I'll do that a little bit later, but yeah, I think he makes a great point. Richie says he's going to be going, hey, man, if we can get a bunch of offline sharks there, we'll do an offline sharks meetup. I mean, that would be
cool.
I was just telling Nick, that's so funny. I was just telling Nick yesterday, I was like, how awesome would it be to have a networking suite for offline sharks and remote millionaires? Like, we should do that. So maybe this is our opportunity to do that.
That'd be
really
cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here. I'll go ahead and scroll the link to the webinar below the screen. If don't go there now. I mean, we got a lot of live show left, but it's offlinesharks.com/robotic. So Cameron came up with this great way to describe what Reach does. Reach really is a robot salesperson for you, right? Like, Reach does everything that our full-time sales rep does. Like, now think about that. So we have a full-time sales rep in the agency. She's doing her thing. And now we have this other automated sales rep that does all of that. And so, I mean, if you're looking, here's the thing. Prospecting has to be happening every day. Like, if you're not doing some type of prospecting, outbound prospecting, and if you're not talking to people on a weekly basis, and when I say talk to them, that could be either by phone, Zoom, email, text. And what I mean is, like, if you're not having conversations with people that can become your client and pay an invoice that you're sending, then it's going to be very difficult to grow your agency, right? And this is the thing, like, you have to be sending invoices, and those invoices have to be getting paid, right? Otherwise you're not making any money. And I know that seems really obvious, but it's like, I see so many people that they do everything but they're doing everything but that part, right? Like, they're not sending any invoices because, there's a whole process in that. And in the training, if you go to offlinesharks.com/robotic, I talk about that, and then how to set that up and what you need to do. The thing is, like, what it takes to get momentum with that is the grind, what people call the grind of prospecting, right? You got to generate all that activity. And that's usually the part that most people are uncomfortable with. They don't want to do, I don't want to do that stuff, right? So, we developed an automated system that does all of that for you. So if you haven't yet, go check it out, offlinesharks.com/robotic. I think it's only going to be up for like another day or two. And we have a special offer for Reach on there, just to be transparent and upfront. So you can go check that out. But look, I know that if you have a high level account yourself and you tried to build out what we have there, I bet you in a couple of days, you'd be back and be like, yeah, Tom, I'll just take what you have. All right, Jason. I mean, how much time do you spend on that thing?
Quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. More than I'd like to admit, but it's an ever evolving process too, because you can't think of every single obstacle that you're going to encounter. And so as things come up, we make adjustments and, adjust our plan. But I mean, the basis of the system remains relatively the same. It's just little things here and there that we're looking to tweak and improve along the way. But you're right. I mean, it really boils down to prospecting. I mean, if you're not making sales, you're not having sales conversations, you don't have a business, really. I mean, like that, sales is the lifeblood of every business. So it really boils down to that. And what's funny is that we heard this from Chris Byrne, is that, it really doesn't take a lot. That's the crazy thing. And it's just consistency. It's like, if you could just do a little bit every single day, and you do that over a long period of time, that's all you need to win. I mean, it's not like you got to send 5,000 messages a week. I mean, we're talking about small incremental movements every single day. It stacks up and it snowballs over time. So,
yeah, I think Chris, and he's been getting amazing results with Reach. And I mean, he spends an hour a day, right? He has a full-time job. He spends an hour a day working on it. And you're right. We've been saying this for a long, long time in our community. We talk a lot about revenue producing activities, but it's the small fundamental things that you do every day and your execution of those that makes the biggest difference, right? Like, I used to always think there was going to be some big event, right? Like, I was going to find some thing that was going to be the turning point. Like this one thing would just suddenly flip the switch and all this other stuff would happen. And there was never a thing like that, right? Like the success that we've had in the agency and in this business as well has all come from just doing the little things, but doing the little things well and doing them, just like you said, doing them consistently. Like, we have been prospecting Monday through Friday from, 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 every day, Monday through Friday at that agency for 4 years now, 5 years now, right? Like, maybe, like, we put a system in place to make sure that was happening. Now, in the beginning, we were doing it. And then eventually we were passing that off to other people, right? Which is what we did a lot of trainings in our community on this, how we hired appointment setters. And, and now we talk to people in remote motors about how we have the full-time sales rep. The thing though, is like the one drawback to a full-time sales rep is that for a full-time sales rep to be successful, you have to have your stuff together. Like, you've got to know what you're selling, how much you're selling it for. You have to have a grip on your numbers. You have to be able to give them the tools they need to succeed. They have to be able to feel good about selling. Like, our good sales rep anyway isn't going to want to sell something to people that aren't happy, right? Like, they're going to want to know that your client retention is good, that you really put the customers first, that you can do what you say you can do, right? Like, if you can't demonstrate those things, then your chances of finding a good full-time sales rep are nil. So, well, what do you do in the meantime? How do you figure all that stuff out, right? Well, Reach is an automated way to do that. We can get all the same benefits of having a full-time sales rep, and we can work out our processes and do all that stuff. And without having to hire somebody or invest money in that or pay commissions or anything like that, right? So it's really a great way to ease yourself into doing those things, because then you can have the consistent prospecting happening each day, even if you're busy, right? Because you can just spend some time building the lists and loading them in, and you're basically, with Reach, you're just responding, right? Like, you're not doing any cold outreach. You're just kind of responding to the people that respond. So
yeah, I call it honing the prospecting muscle, because that's really what you're doing. And then and that's the great thing about Reach is, like you said, you get this system in there that's consistently doing that outreach for you, so that, in the background it's going on and you're working on something else. Maybe you're working on some client stuff. Maybe you're fixing some little thing on your website, or you're looking at interviewing somebody, a VA to bring on board, whatever it is you're working on. You've got this going in the background. But as those messages come in throughout the day, you can start responding, and you start to hone and build that prospecting muscle. And it really builds the confidence too, because you can see, oh, wow, this actually works. If I reach out, people actually respond. Some respond favorably, some are not so much, right? But it gets that confidence going. It makes you feel good. You feel like you're actually making progress in the business. You see those responses coming back, and you start to have those meetings. And that's the beauty of the system. That's the beauty of the Reach system.
Yeah, and this is something, and I'll get to this question. I want to take a couple of questions, but this is something that I've really been thinking a lot about, and that is, I think, well, what was the difference maker, right? Like, how was I able to go from not getting any traction and having success in the agency to getting traction and having success? And one of the things that has kind of started to become clear to me is for so long, I was only focused on the money part, meaning like I had this number in my head, $10,000 a month, that if I could just make $10,000 a month, I wouldn't have any problems, And I actually told my wife that one time, if we could just make $10,000 a month, we'll never have any problems, right? For anyone else who has a number like that, that is not an accurate reality. When you make that, you will still have problems and issues, and you'll be dealing with things. They'll just be different things, right? But so I just had this number, and it was like, and I always thought about the number. I just want to do 10,000. I just want to do 10,000. The problem was, that's like, while it's great, there is nothing wrong with having financial goals. And I think you should have numbers and things like that. Like, okay, this is what I want to do. But what you want to focus on is the daily habits and actions that produce those results. So, it's really hard to get up and today, and you get up in the morning and you say, okay, we're going to make $10,000 this month. Well, but like, what do you do? Like, it's really hard to figure out what to do. But if you get up in the morning, you're like, okay, I know that if I want to make $10,000 a month, I need to be having conversations with people that can pay me. Then now we can backtrack and we can say, okay, what are the actions I need to take today to make those conversations happen? Right? So, okay, so I need to be reaching out to people. Okay, well, then I'm going to reach out to X many people each day, right? Or I'm going to do this. So that's like, it's focusing on the processes and the systems that will eventually lead to the revenue, not so much the revenue itself, right? To make $10,000 a month, the first thing you have to do is, like, you need to make $1 a month, or you need to make, like, whatever it is, like, you need to make your first 200 a month. Like, to get there, you just got to start working yourself way backwards, and I don't know if I'm explaining this right, because to me, now when I look at it, it seems like a very subtle shift. Like, I thought I was focusing on the things that were going to lead me to $10,000, but I really wasn't. Like, because I wasn't doing the daily habits. That's where revenue producing activities come from, right? Activities that lead to that.
Yeah, what comes to mind, the word that comes to mind is reverse engineer. So you take the end goal, you reverse engineer, how are we going to get there? What are the steps that are going to lead us to get to that end goal? So the end goal, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, whatever that goal is, right? Or maybe it's a client number, whatever it is, but setting that goal and then reverse engineering, like, okay, what does that mean? Well, on our current rate, it means that, we close currently 30% of all the leads we talk to, but, in order to get those 30%, we've got to get yeses from, say, 70, right? Whatever it is, like, you reverse engineer what it's going to take to get to that level. That's the way that I think about it. Yeah.
That's how Nick and I have done everything. We've started everything with starting at the end and like, okay, well, to do that, that means we got to do this. That means we either, like, look, if you want to make $10,000 a month, right? You can either get one client that pays you $10,000 a month. You can get two clients that pay you $5,000 a month. Like, we would break it down to that. Like, what are the different options? Well, okay, if we have a service that we're charging $1,000 for, well, then we need 10, right? We need 10 clients. So we've always worked backwards that way, which is really great. I saw somebody was asking about I don't know who this is. If you go to StreamYard and grant permission, we can see who you are and all that stuff. But it says, do you have a price list for services? Well, what services? We do have so one of the things that we do for our Remote Millionaires members is we give them our current pricing and talk about all that. But I want to know like what services specifically. Maybe I can give you some guidance. But more importantly, look, pricing is relative. Like it is super relative and specific to you and your situation, right? Like we have a client that pays us $10,500 a month. One client, they pay us $10,500 a month. The chances, like if you have 0 clients and you're trying to get your agency started, the chances of you finding somebody that's going to pay you $10,500 a month is pretty slim, right? There's a lot more to that number than just our pricing. Like I could tell you like, oh yeah, well, you know, for this, we charge $10,500 a month, but that doesn't mean you're going to get that, right? Like, you're going to have some credibility, some authority. Like there's other things that go into that. So you also need, you know, like your situation is your situation, right? Like the amount of money you need to comfortably live every month is probably different from what Jason needs and from what I need and from what other people need. Plus there's you have to take into consideration your market, right? Like, well, what are other people around me charging? Like, what do people like? Are there other people doing this service in my area? What are they charging? So how can I differentiate myself, right? Like if I'm going to charge more money, what am I saying that makes people believe that I'm worth more money, right? So yeah, it's relative. So my recommendation is to do exactly what we've been talking about for the prospecting. And that is work it backwards. So this is what I did. I wrote down all of the bills, everything that I needed to live each month. So that was my starting point. Like I need to make X amount of money just to pay the bills, right? And put food on the table. I'm not talking about going out and living a lavish lifestyle, just the bare minimum I need to make that stuff work. And then I said, okay, well, if I need to make that much, like how much is that a month? Like how much do I need to generate each month? And that was the number I started with. So, okay, well, to generate that amount of money, I need to have, you know, 1 client that pays me that much, or I need to have 2 clients that pay me this or 3 that pay me that, right? So now I kind of knew what that goal was. And then on the other side of that, I looked at, well, okay, if these are the services I'm going to be selling, like what is it going to cost me to fulfill on those services? So I went around and interviewed people that could do the fulfillment for me to find out, well, how much are they going to charge me to do the fulfillment? Like what is that person going to cost? Plus I vetted them to make sure they could do a good job. They were awesome. Right. And I knew exactly how much they were going to charge me to do what they were going to do. Now I have my hard cost. So now I can look at that and go, okay, well, if this is my hard cost and this is how much money I need to make, like this is what I'm going to charge. So, you know, can I double this? Can I triple it? Well, that depends on, well, what are other people charging for this? Well, what do I feel like the businesses here can afford? Right. So, you know, one of the things, if any of you have looked at like the mailer thing I did is like my way to bring in clients, you know, I have kept that at $500 for a long time when really I should have been raising the prices, but I didn't because $500 where I was at in Kihei, Hawaii was like almost a no-brainer decision. Like, oh, it's only $500, so it's $250 right now. Oh man, I'm in. Like it was just, there was no sales resistance. Right? As you move up in pricing, you're going to start to encounter sales resistance and more things like that. So you have to think about those things, right? And then adjust the number of clients you're doing and all that stuff. So whoever asked this, you may be thinking, oh my God, that seems like a lot. It is. It is a lot, but it's really important that you figure this stuff out and that you really think about it for yourself. Don't just blindly go copying. Just because somebody out there tells you you can charge $497 for a service, don't just go blindly copying them because that $497 may be right for you, but it may not be right for you. You may be able to charge less and get a bigger share of the market. You may need to charge more. You just see what I'm saying? So super critical to do that. Then the next thing I would say to do is ask in the Facebook group what do people charge for whatever services you're looking for? So you can get a view from different people in different places, or just search the group and say, if you're looking for, say, SEO, you say, what are people charging for SEO? You'll probably see some posts in there about it.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add to that, Tom, is that just kind of echo exactly what you said. Price. You really want to figure out how to differentiate yourself from the market. You don't want to get into a situation where you become a commodity. That's the worst place to be. So you really want, the question that I always ask myself is, what problem am I solving? And how can I solve a bigger problem? Because I think if you look at it in that lens, with that lens of really trying to solve a problem, you'll be paid in direct proportion to the size of problem that you're able to solve. So instead of just coming to the market and saying, hey, I'm going to be like every other agency and offer SEO, paid ad, Google ads, Facebook ads, social media, let's like reposition that and figure out, okay, well, what if we asked a different question? What if we really looked at the market and said, hey, how can we solve a problem by utilizing one of these channels, Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, so on and so forth? How can we solve a bigger problem? And how can we really differentiate ourselves in the marketplace? And I think looking at it through that lens, price almost becomes a non-issue. Because again, if you're solving a big enough problem for that business owner, something that they stress about day and night that they can't, they lay in bed at nights thinking about, if you can solve that, if you can take a portion of that off their plate or the whole thing off their plate, they're willing to part with the money. They're willing to find the money. They'll cancel this or that or whatever. They'll find the money to pay you. So that's the way I look at it. Is really searching for those problems and figuring out how can we utilize the tools within reach, within digital marketing overall, to really fit in and solve some of these problems.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you're right on there. And the nice thing about the whole reach system is that we have a built-in way to differentiate yourself from all the other agencies out there, right? Like, the way we do it in Hawaii is we have hawaiithrive.com, right? We have hawaiithrive.com. That's our proxy. That's our proxy prospecting brand. Like, we prospect from behind that brand, and it automatically takes us out of the I'm an agency trying to sell you space and puts us in more of a, hey, we're here to help the local community, and we can do that in several different ways. So, I mean, as part of the reach system, we include all that, help you get all that set up, because it's critical, right? You need to be able to set yourself apart. And that's an easy way to do it when you don't have the results to back up differentiating yourself in some other way, right? Now it's easier for us now to differentiate and get bigger deals and find bigger clients because we've got a lot of data and results to back up what we're doing, right? Like, we feel really comfortable charging that client $10,500 a month. If you had talked to us in 2016 when we first started Offline Sharks and you said, hey guys, would you ever charge a client $10,500 a month? We probably have been like, no. Like, we wouldn't have even had the ability to make that offer and make it seem real, because we were still developing our confidence in ourselves and our services and what we were doing, right? Like, you kind of go through this phase in an agency where you just feel like you're not really a business, right? You're just somebody trying to figure it out, and you think everybody knows you're just somebody trying to figure it out. And there's a little bit of there's just uncertainty and lack of confidence and all that stuff. And
the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, it takes some experience and just moving forward and pushing through that stuff to get over that. But I think all your points about solving the bigger problems, all that stuff are right on too. Frank makes a great point here too. Make sure when you're figuring out your expenses that you're figuring in taxes. I always say too, you need to I think you should be figuring in profit. Most business owners, when they do this, they just say, okay, well, I'm going to make as much money as I can, and we'll pay the expenses, and whatever's left over is the profit. Like, they don't plan for the profit. And I think you can get a real leg up on people when you plan for the profit. So when you're figuring out your pricing and you say, okay, well, I need X amount of dollars to pay my hard costs for fulfillment. Then there's X amount of dollars that needs to be in there for taxes. Then there's X amount of dollars that needs to be in there for me to get to the ability to pay my bills each month, right? My nut, they call that your nut. Your nut is like your base expenses. And then any operating expenses that you have, right? Like any hard costs in your agency, things like that. And then you say, okay, well, what do I want to make? Like, how much profit do I want to make? So I want to make 30% profit. So then you add an additional 30% to that. So a lot of people feel like that's not right or something like that. But like, look, here's the deal. You're an entrepreneur and a business owner. You are taking a risk. No one is going to come save you if all of this fails, right? So you're taking a risk. You should get paid for taking that risk. There is nothing wrong with having profit margins and having great profit margins, because it is a big risk to start and run a business. So you should be rewarded for that. And if those people want to get that kind of reward, then they should start their own business and they should take the risk themselves, right? Like, you're taking the risk, so you should get rewarded for that.
Yeah. I always.
Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I was just going to say, I always simplify it. I just say you need to figure out how you're going to pay yourself, pay your expenses, pay your taxes, and have money left over to reinvest in the business. Those are the 4 things I always say. And I think those things, if you keep that in mind, I think that you'll be right in line. You know, like Tom said, it's there's nothing wrong with making a healthy profit margin. I mean, that's what's going to keep you in business. And ultimately, I mean, if you take it a step further, the more money you charge, the better you can actually deliver to the end client. So like, don't go into it saying like, hey, I just want to be the cheapest in town so I can get all this business. No, you're actually doing yourself a disservice, but most importantly, you're doing the client a disservice, because you can't really live up to the expectation and really deliver a really high quality service to them when you're just getting paid pennies on the dollar. So don't discount just to discount. Like, don't be the cheapest guy in town. Like, charge enough so you can make enough money to pay yourself, pay your expenses, pay your taxes, and reinvest in your business, but also be able to really deliver for that client.
Yeah, so true. I mean, we learned that lesson the hard way, or I learned that lesson the hard way. I remember I used to be like, man, I really need to get this client. So I'd cut him a low price. And then 2 weeks into the deal, I'm like complaining and griping and miserable because I'm doing all this work and I'm not getting paid very much money. And like, it just made it hard to do the right thing. And I don't know who this person is. Like, I like what they say here about starting high, going low. There are a couple of things I would say about that. Like, one is we always try, like, we're not just trying to get them. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, if a client comes to us and they say they have a budget for $10,000 a month, let's say they have a budget for $10,000 a month. A lot of clients don't want to tell you their budget because they think you're just going to charge them that much, right? But here's the deal. You have to, like, the reason we ask for the budget is because how much money they can spend impacts directly, just like what Jason was talking about, the types of results we can deliver, the amount of people we can put on their project, the faster we can get it done, the more resources we can direct towards getting them the result they want, right? So it's not like the conversation isn't that. Like, we're not just trying to find out how much money they have and take as much as they want, as much as we want, without giving them more value in return. So you have to, you just want to make sure you're thinking about it that way. Like, the reason of asking for the budget is so that we know what we can put together and do for them, not because we're just trying to get as much money as possible for doing the least amount of work. Like, that's not what we're trying to do. Like, we want to deliver value. We want them to have success. And if they have more money to allocate to the result they're trying to get, the better we can do that for them. Right.
Exactly.
And so it's like, sometimes I'll explain it to clients. It's like building a house. You can build the cheapest house on the block, or you can build the most it's still like their houses, they're different things. Like, what are you trying to do? What do you want? Like, marketing works a lot the same way. It's if you know, that's why it's important for them to have a budget and to know what their budget is and be able to afford it and all that stuff. So, yeah. So
and I think to this comment here, Tom, about price ranges, another thing that comes to mind is discounting. You kind of mentioned it a little bit, but me personally, I don't discount. So I have set packages. I present those packages. If the client says, you know, box at the price or whatever, then I say, well, you know, then we can bump you down to another package, right? We can remove. So we had the most expensive package has the most amount of value. The smaller packages have less value and a less price and a smaller price that goes along with it. So instead of discounting, we just remove. And again, when you start to remove things, like what you're doing by pricing this way and by selling this way is like you're not cheapening your service and your service offering. You're saying, okay, yeah, we can work within your budget. You can spend less with us, but that means we also deliver less. We're not going to deliver at this same level for this large amount for that price point, right? So one of the things that I've done, and that's worked really well, again, in the sales process, what I find a lot of times is that they basically sell themselves. Initially they'll look at the price and go, oh, I can't afford that. But then when you tell them, like, look, we don't discount, like you choose one of these packages, and they say, well, maybe I can find the money because those benefits in that higher package actually matter to me, right? So,
yeah, I can
perspective.
I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. I was actually going to say that next because I'm the same way. Like the thing that you're really trying to avoid is most people just think your pricing is made up. And your pricing isn't made up, especially if you do it the way we've been talking about on the show, right? Like, so you don't want to give the appearance that it is, and discounting can give that appearance. So, awesome stuff. Okay, so I want to look at some questions here, and then I want to share a couple things for you guys. I saw somebody asking about a baby update, and we'll talk about what's going on in the agency too. So. Man, I see. Gosh, look at all this action going on in here. What's up, Josie? Welcome to Reach. Josie just joined Reach yesterday. Excited to have you in there, Josie. You're gonna love it.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I see tons of stuff in here. So I'm gonna do a couple things. So one is I want to talk about what's going on in the agency, but somebody asked about a baby update. So look at that. There's baby Ava.
Nice.
Smiling and looking happy, isn't she? I mean, how adorable, right?
How cool.
How adorable. Yeah. Nick sent me that yesterday when we were doing our executive team huddle. So yeah. So she's doing great. Sloan's doing great. Nick's doing great. They're all doing great, right? I also wanted to talk about a couple things that are happening in the agency. So we are working on a new solution for client reporting. So we've always kind of invested a little more time in the reports that we give out at the agency, because Nick really felt like most of the run-of-the-mill reports just don't do a good job, right? And communicating the value of the services at the agency to the average business owner who are clients. Like a lot of reports, they don't do that, right? They're just reports, but they don't communicate the value that you're delivering. So we've been using Looker Studio to create some custom reporting and gather data over at the agency. So I wanted to show you guys something, and then we're going to do some shark shout outs. So look, there's a preview of some shout outs. Some people getting, this is the Remote Millionaire School Group, just so you guys know. We'll talk about Joanne here in a minute, some SEO tools. Oh, here it is. So this was a post Nick made to our Remote Millionaires members talking about this. And this is a screenshot of our new dashboard. So another interesting thing. So Nick just did a recap. So let me start here. So one of the things that we like to do in our businesses is have like a recap of the year and talk about everything that's going on. So Nick just did a 2023 recap to the entire agency team. Everybody got on a Zoom. They talked about everything that happened in 2023. They went through everything by department. And then he talked about what our goals are and what we're looking to do for 2024. So I'm curious, would you guys be interested in that? Like, would you guys be interested in seeing that? I mean, I watched it yesterday. There's some really valuable information on there where he's talking about what they're doing, how they expanded things, different things like that. But one of the interesting things out of that was like, just in the ad, just in the reporting that we can track through ads. So our clients spent about a little over 500,000 in paid ads, but we delivered 1.4 million in sales for them. So pretty good. It's like a 2.7% return on investment on their ad spend. So you can see like these reports are looking to do those same types of things, right? We're talking about production, consumption, all those things, showing them that what we're doing is delivering results. And that's super important. So this is some of the stuff we're sharing with. Here's the thing about Remote Millionaires, right? Like things, we're constantly improving and bettering the process at the agency, and Remote Millionaires is our way to kind of like share and help other people out with what we're doing and how we're growing there. So there's that. So I wanted to show you guys that. And then let me get over here. Stop sharing that. Everybody says, yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it was really interesting. And it was awesome to see the entire team at the agency there and, talking about the members we brought on. We brought on 8 team members. We brought on 8 new team members at the agency in 2023. 2 of them we've already had to let go, but 3 of them we've promoted, right? And they're getting more responsibility. And we're looking to expand those roles even more in 2024. So no, that is not Go High Level, Jacqueline. So the tool that we're using for that is called Looker Studio. Looker Studio. And we're creating those custom reports. So that should help you there. Okay, let's do some shark shout outs. Let's do some shark
Let's
shout outs.
go.
Here we go. Let me share my screen again. Want this one. Boom. There we have it. Let me get back over here. Okay. I feel like I'm reading these on the teleprompter now. And so like the text isn't big and I'm getting old. So I'm like, yeah. First off, congratulations to Stormin Norman Thomas. He got a new Google business profile win. What is that? 800? That says 800. Yeah. 800. Cool. Charlene, she got her first premium listing request in the Reach system. So she sold a premium upgrade. We charge, I think, $49 for those. That's a little foot in the door thing. So awesome stuff, Charlene. Joanne Westwood got an email to resend an invoice that she sent to someone she's been trying to do business with since September. With $1,500 plus $297 a month. Oh yeah, I saw this post on Dread, and this is so great. So she sent an invoice to this person in September, and they never paid it. You never heard from them. Then just out of the blue, they were like, "Hey, resend me that invoice. I want to pay it." So awesome work, Joanne, and not giving up. Never give up. Never give up.
It's awesome.
Dorn Britton. Dorn, look at this picture. So clean shaven and professional. I love it. Dorn sold a home services jackpot site, $750 plus, what does that say? $49 a month recurring, websites, and a lead bubble, $97.
Nice.
Awesome stuff, Dorn.
Cool.
Dorn's doing some exciting things over in the Shark Alliance, and you guys will see all that stuff. But that's a combined total of $5,091 for the week of January 6th through 12th. It's so interesting. Since when we get to the end of the year, I get so excited saying those big numbers like 1.4 million, 1.5 million. When we go back to the beginning, it's like, okay, here we go. Back up the road again. Anyway, It's a grand total of $8,240 since the start of 2024. So look, if you're out there, if you're taking action, you're getting some wins, make sure you share them in the Facebook. Our goal, we did, I think you, not we, you and our community generated like 1.5 million last year from all this stuff. So, we want to top that this year. So make sure you share those wins and all that stuff. So congratulations, everybody.
Yep. Congratulations.
Let me stop sharing my screen there. Let's take a look at the questions. And again, if you want to check out the replay of the training we did on Wednesday, go to offlinesharks.com/robotic. We've got a special deal going on Reach. That'll close in a few days. But look, if you don't have consistent prospecting happening in your business right now, I don't know of anything out there like it, right? And mainly because, look, there are a lot of tools out there that will help you automate your prospecting. The problem is you have to build all that stuff out. Maybe they'll give you a couple of templates or something like that, but really building out the entire process is up to you, because there's usually a lot of specific things, right? They don't know what your offer is. They don't know what you're doing. There's so many variables, but we give you all of that. We give you the offers. We give you the emails. We give you the font, everything that we had to create. So you don't have to create anything. You just use what we have, get it set up. And again, a great way to learn Go High Level. So go to offlinesharks.com/robotic. You can check that out. And let's see what else. Somebody said nothing on the customer front, but I got a letter from a company looking to buy agencies, an offer to appear in a publication to $500K, invitation to a podcast. That's awesome. Those are all great wins. Spectacular. Yeah. If anybody out there, if you have an agency and you ever decide that you want to sell it, you're looking to sell it, hit me up, because one of the guys that I was hanging out with at Traffic and Conversions and that I know from some other events, that's his specialty. He's a business broker and he specializes in selling agencies. So he's the real deal. He's a good guy. All right. Well, listen, we're already at the top of the hour. Man, that flew by.
I went really quick.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys hanging out. We got one more thing to do before we go.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
All right. Maybe we need to spice up the money song for 2024. When you go to offlinesharks.com/shoutouts and leave a good job, great work, way to go, we pick 2 random people and we send them some Cash App money. So today's winners are Darla Weaver and Patty Ratowski. Congratulations. Woo! Good job. Good job. Oh, Patches is excited too. I don't know if you heard him barking in the background. He's listen to him. He's excited too. Awesome. Well, look, thanks for hanging out with us. Again, go check out the training, offlinesharks.com/robotic. I'll see you here next week. Same shark time, same shark channel. Aloha, everybody. Stay safe.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam session. We've helped thousands just like you start and scale their businesses. If you'd like our help to grow your business, go to the link on your screen now and let us know how we can help you. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then, aloha.